Hello and welcome to the What If I Fail podcast with me, your host, Alex Coward. And today I am joined by Washington. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Hey, Alex, thanks for having me. I'm Washington and I am a transformational confidence coach. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means that I teach people confidence that closes deals, confidence that commands rooms, whether that be on stage or whether that be networking, and also confidence that just leaves them feeling wildly alive and in love with their life.
Amazing. Amazing. We met less than a year ago, which for me is just wild because we met in, was it July at Peak Fest? And I think we've known each other our whole lives. Like, I feel like you were just instantly like, yeah, cool, he's a friend, he's in. I don't even need to question this. Like, we're going to hang out again. This is absolutely going to happen. And I think your confidence that does that, like the way that you connect with so many people, like on stage, but off stage as well. Every single person I saw you speaking to was like, that person was you, they had your entire attention. Like, I saw some guys coming up to you, especially the guys, because there weren't that many in the room. And the way you just like locked in on them and were just like giving them your full attention was just, it was so cool to witness as well. So yeah, kudos for that one.
Thank you very much. Do you know what it is, yeah? I've always been brought up to respect and love everyone that I've ever met. Like, I grew up in a very complicated life where my dad was a public speaker for a political party, and we were going to so many different people's houses all the time. And one of the life lessons I learned was that we're gonna my parents are never going to be 100% correct, and other people aren't ever going to be 100% correct. So just sit there, observe, be present with people, and respect them, you know? So I guess that's where that comes from.
Nice. That must have been so cool being in so many, like being surrounded by so many people all the time, like new environments, and I guess probably a lot of adults that you were surrounded by as a child.
Yeah, 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 literally, that's all it ever was. So um, I would go. we'd go to different houses, and that sometimes the children would get told to go play with themselves, but I would be like, no, I want to know what the adults are talking about. I want to know
Yeah.
what's so secret here. And yeah, a lot of the time I had to make friends with the other adults because we were being looked after if it was like a full-on adult event and we're the only children there. And it just meant that number one, I had to be a good boy so I don't embarrass my And also number two, it was nice being center of attention if I want to be completely honest.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's interesting because my dad being in the Air Force, like we used to go to a lot of his events. So I
Mm,
also grew up in that kind of lots of adults around. You learn how to talk to adults. But as a result, by the time I got to a teenager, and I think this is probably the same for you, I was told so many times that, oh, you're an old soul. Like, you're definitely an old soul. And I'm like, no, I've just learned how to talk to adults. Like, that's the difference.
literally, that's it. I've grown up being told you're so wise, you're so wise.
Yeah.
Little did they know I'm just a rascal.
And the gossip's better in those rooms, frankly.
It's wild. It's
Yeah.
like real life reality TV is unfolding before your eyes, and you're just
Yes.
like,
100%. 100%. Do you want to tell us a little bit? Because that part of your story I've actually not heard before, but we did an event together in Edinburgh and I
mm,
got to be part of your confidence tour and kind of watch you deliver in your zone of genius. And I absolutely loved hearing about your transformation story. Because obviously you coach people through transformations, but hearing your
mm.
story, I think it really grounded it for me as to why you do what you do.
Thank you. Honest, before I get into that, I just want to say I had probably the most phenomenal experience working alongside you in Edinburgh. You are a master at your work and you really do care for people. You had my back really
Always.
amazingly. And yeah, just thank you for welcoming me to your world
Thanks.
in a blink of an eye as well, you know? So yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
Thank you.
And yeah, so my journey, for me, I've always felt like I'm destined for greatness. And so many people who are listening to this might feel like they're destined for more, destined, they
Hmm.
have a purpose, they have a calling, they have a vision, a mission that they're meant to go out there and take a hold of. And at 17, I I had my calling, or my first calling, should I say, and that was to make music. It was to make conscious music with a group of 15 lads and also lasses, and we would literally go around town, be having a boombox here, rapping, singing, DJing, going DJing in pubs, DJing clubs in London, Southend, you name it. Um, it was amazing. It was amazing. But there was a cost to all of that, right? And the cost to all of that was my family, because my family didn't approve of my extracurricular activities, shall we call them, which which then led me to run away from home because I didn't feel seen, I didn't feel respected, I didn't feel like as if I could express myself, you know? So I ran away and everything just intensified. Now I'm out in the streets every single day. I am obsessed and I'm terrified. I have to make it. All of these people are relying on me, and but also because I'm so young, oh, I'm just having fun and I'm just living my dream, and I can do this because I'm destined to do this. I'm amazing, rah rah rah. And about a year and a half into that journey, I start experiencing paranoid thoughts. And for everyone else hearing, listening to this, like you might not be paranoid, right? It might not be that extreme, but it could be that you're experiencing shame, doubt, fear to move forward. And for me, it was I just didn't trust anyone around me. I didn't trust my family. I didn't trust even, well, I did trust myself, but in this arrogant, I can do it myself type of way. And really, that just caused me to spiral. One day, my mum somehow finds out where I live. She drives by and she says, Wash, you've got to come home. Now, I'm drunk because I'm about to head out to do a show. And I'm saying, Mum, you don't understand. You don't know what it's like to live your dream. You don't understand me. You don't understand this. And we had a shouting battle. And she got into the car. She left. I went to the show. But a few weeks after that, I went home. And when I went home, my mum said I could stay. She said, You're safe, you're home. She didn't trouble me, she didn't ask me 21 questions. She just said, It's okay, you're allowed to be home. And then 3, 6, 7 months passed. My mum's an action taker, right? So she gets to this point where she's also hopeless now. So imagine it's 2015. We're in this. She calls me into her bedroom. She's laying down. My mum's 5'2", by the way, tiny black woman, and she says, looks me dead in the eyes. She says, "Wash, how can I help you help yourself?" And I didn't have an answer for her because I thought she was going to tell me off. I thought she was, well, motivationally talk to me, right? I thought I was going to be in trouble again, you know, because that's all I knew, all I thought I was good at. You know,
Yeah.
all I thought I'd do this. I've done everything wrong. I've betrayed my friends. That's my mind right at that time. And a week before she called me into the room, actually, she bought me a pair of Air Forces. And with those pair of Air Forces, she said, go get the Air Forces and go get the pair of Vans I was wearing out in the streets. Now, my mum said to me, take a look at your Vans. Your Vans represent who you are right now. Broken, tattered, and possibly beyond repair. And in that moment, that was a massive hit to the jugular because it was so soft, it was so unprovoked, and I'm looking at shoes.
Yeah.
But what that allowed for me is it allowed me to disassociate. It allowed me to see myself as these pair of shoes rather than point a finger directly at myself. And I froze. She asked me to put my shoes back down, pick up the Air Forces. I pick up the Air Forces. My mum said these Air Forces represent something else. She didn't promise me greatness. She didn't promise me money. She didn't promise me success. She just said something else. Do you want something else? And I picked the Air Forces. Through After I picked the Air Forces, she said, "Go throw away everything else." I've sort of cleaned out my whole entire wardrobe and started afresh. But to go back to the point, like why or where did my origins, my transformational story, is that what I realized is that life is a choice. What I realized, no matter how you're experiencing the world, you have an opportunity to choose something else, not greatness, not success. And a lot of the time when I'm working with business owners, it is about success, it is about fulfillment, it is about all of these other things. Well, but it was in that moment I realized that I just have to choose something that
Yeah.
lifts me, that moves me, that guides me into a new direction, and then I can figure everything out in the process.
I love that because something I tell people all the time, and they hate it, is stuck is a choice. Like when you're choosing stuck, when you're choosing indecision, when you're choosing to, so I can't take action yet. I'm not sure. I don't know. Like that's a choice. Like you're choosing that reality. You're choosing to stay in that position of, oh well, I'll just not take action yet, and then you can't get annoyed about the results that you don't get from the work that you don't do and the action that you don't take.
That's it.
So
That's
I
it.
love that your mom's an action taker and that she was just like, you've just got to choose something. You've just got
Mm.
to, you have to take that first step, whatever that step looks like.
Exactly, and what I always say is what I say similar to you is the choice is that when we feel shame, when we feel guilt, when we feel fear, I actually say that's avoiding responsibility.
Hmm.
And me feeling that way, yes, I did really experience that pain, that suffering. I did. I'm not trying to remove that from other people, but
Yeah,
what I learned in that moment was what the choice is. The choice is power. The choice is saying I can hold on to my life. I can move, and yeah. So for me, it's like, am I willing? Are you willing to take responsibility of what you're able to in that very moment?
yeah,
And once I did do that, I got back. I didn't say this, but I dropped out of college. I dropped out, but I got back into college. I got to uni. I studied law, and I started a tech company, property investor, like 24 properties in Canterbury, and then here I am, a coach.
yeah.
With a care business as well. Might I add along the list?
I was gonna say
My
you have so many businesses. It's
Yeah,
insane.
literally. But it's like the main ones right now, just for context, is the care business and the coaching. But the care is combined with property, but whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah, but without that singular choice of saying, look, I want something else. I'm going to move into that direction. And I'm going to be open to possibility.
yeah.
I wouldn't have arrived where I've arrived right now.
How did you find rebuilding your relationship with your family? Because obviously you said when you were out on your own, you didn't
Mm.
trust anyone. You didn't trust your family or your friends.
Mhm.
I know obviously you've got incredible relationship with your family now.
Yeah.
Like you're super close to them. You talk about them all the time. How's that relationship building been?
Wow, you're the first person to ever ask me that question.
Really?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. Um, I am the luckiest person in the entire world, because I was accepted into a home where my mum said to my siblings, do not treat your brother differently. Yes, he's not well. Yes, he's not the same, but do not treat him differently. And I think the main relationship that I actually had to work on was mine, because they were doing everything in they possibly could to accommodate me. And they were still living their lives. They didn't
Yeah.
pause for me. They just gave me an environment to be like, look, you're home, you're safe, but we're also we have to keep on functioning as well.
Yeah.
But so the impact was my paranoia didn't allow me to connect with them, which led them to be frustrated, which led them to be sometimes annoyed. Um, However, what I learned from that is, as long as I was making an attempt, they were able to forgive. They were
Yeah.
able to accommodate me. And I think one of the residue effects of that experience, though, is that they saw me as susceptible to other people. So when it came to building trust around going out into the world, how I chose to deal with that was like, oh, these guys don't think I'm safe enough to make relationships and friends with people who are reliable. I decided to exile myself from the world for about 3 years. So I didn't make
Yeah.
any friends. My friends were my family,
Yeah.
and I refused. When I was in college, I said, I'm not making any friends. Like if I was in class, yes, I'll have conversations and I'll laugh and
Yeah.
joke, but that's where it would start and that's where it would end. So I think the whole entire relationship building with them was actually me regaining a sense of responsibility and me regaining a sense of like a backbone for myself because I had become overly emotionally reliant on their love, their support, their care without having my own sense of rigor, pride, identity because I
Yeah.
had now substituted my identity for my family's love rather than me Washington myself. And that entire process um, was difficult because I went from being an adult to then being a baby to being an adult again. And by
Yeah.
the time I'm back to being an adult, I'm still seen as a child. And it's like, however, it was done with as much grace as possible, you know? So, yeah.
It's interesting because one of the themes that I'm talking about in this podcast, like this season, is that cost of success at an identity level of what if I become wildly successful at being someone I don't like? Like, what if I become wildly successful at being someone that's not actually really me? A lot of times, especially because within personal brands, it's a lot of it feels like a performance. And when you find the performance that works and you start going, well, that works and that sells and that works and that sells, and you've gone all the way down this path, and then you're going,
Mm,
who is that person? Like, that's not actually me. So
mm,
to have experienced such a dramatic kind of identity shedding and then rebuilding, is that something you fear again? Or do you think having gone through that, you're really good at navigating and making sure that you're not performing because you don't want to
yeah.
go there again?
100. I think that it is a rite of passage to get so good at performing and then have to shed again.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what I mean by that is because each level of my personal growth, I've had to embody a character,
Hmm.
an expression of myself. And what I within that process you learn to access different facets of yourself rather than think you're a singular identity. And
Yeah.
if you think you're a singular identity, that's when the growth feels performative. It feels like an act because
Yeah.
yes, when I get on stage and I'm doing a public speaking presentation, there's an element of me that has to come alive. When I am um, when I don't know, let's say this is a better example for all the parents out here. When your child brings back that absolutely beautiful drawing that they've made in primary school, and you look at it, are you performing when you say that's the best piece of artwork you've ever seen in your life?
Mm.
Right? Partly yes, but also you're like, oh my goodness, you've made this for me. But
Yeah.
you don't really think it's Picasso, do you? You know? So there's it's the acceptance of nuance. It's the
Yeah.
acceptance of I am not a finished, complete product. I will
Yes.
change, I will evolve. And to answer your question bluntly, I actually look forward to those moments because those moments are actually when I can actually go back and within and truly, 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 truly feel no guilt and responsibility because I'm re discovering who Washington is again to then
Yeah.
give my gift to the world. And if I don't have that time to do that, sometimes it used to be months, now it's literally weeks. I can
Yeah.
hibernate for a couple of weeks and I'll be like, oh, okay, cool, I'm back. Um, yeah, hopefully
No.
that answers your questions.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting because the way that this podcast came about, the season one anyway, was recorded within 24 hours of me making the commitment that I was going to record it. I know. Because I'd had this day with my coach and I'd been circling the same hesitancy and the same stuck feeling and we were having the same conversations over and over again. And in the end she was like, today's the day, like we're having this fucking breakthrough. Like we are working out what this is. Whatever this is, we're gonna find out what the cause is. And as it
Mm,
turned out, and it literally did take us like nearly a full day, bless her soul. She was supposed to be just like Telegram on and off, and she basically did a full VIP day with me because she was just in there talking me through stuff, helping me dig deeper, asking me the right questions. And what it came down to was that I had started to almost challenge myself and beat myself up about pivoting because I felt like I could never stick with the same thing. And I was pivoting and I was pivoting and I was pivoting and I was pivoting. And what it came
mm,
down to is we were looking, she was like, right, let's look at your fucking journey then. Like, where are your pivots? And she was like, cool, but you're saying the same shit that you've been saying for like 5 years. Like, the stuff that you used back in the days, you're still using a lot of that stuff. She's like, that's not a pivot, that's an evolution. Like, you've just grown, like, you've just expanded and evolved and tweaked. And I was like, oh shit. When you say evolution, suddenly it makes perfect, like, change is acceptable at that point. It's not a
yes.
lack of consistency, it's a deepening. Um,
Mm,
and it was, I mean, it took us 5 hours to get to this, and it took like, there was so much kind of more to it, but I was literally like, oh, and it literally that one day, I think, changed huge amounts for me. The growth that I've seen since then, the
mm,
confidence I have in myself of just being like, no, we're done with that cycle of questioning. We're over it. But I'd then gone into the group chat, as you do when you've had a bit of a therapy kind of a day. You go to the group chat and you're like, girls, oh my God, this is what I've been working through. And obviously, I have the great fortune, misfortune, of being friends with some incredible coaches. And it was, I think it was Desi that said, okay, what are you going to do about it though? What action are you taking? Like, you've had the breakthrough. What are you going to do about it?
I love
She's
it.
like, what's the one thing that you've been putting off? And they were all in the chat. And I was like, well, I've always thought about having a podcast. And Hannah's like, do it straight away. Like, put a podcast out there. Let's get going. And I'm like, guys, I'm a strategist. I like to have a plan. I was like, I don't have a single plan. I've got nothing. I don't have a strategy for where this fits in the business. And they're
Hmm.
like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, you need to take this. You need to do this. You can find it. You can work it out as you go. I was like, I can't. I don't even have a name. I don't even have a name for the podcast. And they sort of joked that I should make it about this topic. And I was like, well, what am I going to call it? Watch me fuck up a podcast. And they were like, well, that would be a great name. And then I think it was Melissa who said, we'll call it What If I Fail? And I was like, oh shit, that's really good. I can't avoid that. Um, and so I did. Within 24 hours, I'd recorded the first episode. I'm pretty sure I called it What If I Fail with the subtitle Watch Me Fuck Up a Podcast. Um, but it started from this pivot versus evolution. Like, we have to change. And there is moments where you kind of go back into a new chrysalis and emerge again as your new kind of iteration of yourself. And I love that it's not about being a different performance or putting on a different personality. It's just what facet of myself needs to be amplified right now.
That is the most beautiful way to put it.
Mm.
What? Oh, yeah. I love that so much. And it's damn. I don't want to be in your group chats. No one can say some bullshit. Like everyone will be in there.
No, there is no bullshit. There is nothing like it. I tried to invite everyone to my pity party on Friday,
Yeah,
and Des was having none of it. Absolutely none of it. She was like, yeah, whatever. It's not that bad. I'm
literally.
not taking your invite. We're not sitting in this pity.
I love it. I
Okay,
love it.
cool.
High
So,
level shit, man. High
yeah,
level shit.
amazing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, because you mentioned being on stage, you mentioned the speaker circuit, and I swear to God, I obviously see a lot of you on my Instagram feed because Instagram's worked out that I quite like watching your stuff. Um, but it's always like you're at so many events. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
you know everyone ever. You get all the invites. You're at so many different events. How do you
Mm.
find kind of the event circuit?
Yeah. Look, I've got two answers for you. First answer is it's an absolute honor.
Mm-hmm.
And because what it means for me is that I'm a trusted individual. Whether people know me or
Yeah.
don't, they're like, okay, this guy is safe. The second is um, originally um, I was questioning whether people are inviting me onto their table because I'm a well-spoken black man. And if I'm going to be honest with you, some people probably, yeah. Do I have proof of that? No. Can I tell you why? Because I'm so amazing to be around. So, I think it's a difficult. Well, it's not really difficult. It's I I understand how the world works, and some people genuinely want to create spaces for all people to come together in.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I get also that sometimes people want to tokenize black people, Asian people,
Mm.
different races, colors, creeds of people. And I just see it as my responsibility to show up and be the best version of myself. The reason being is that when another person of color, another ignorant, another delusional, another dreamer witnesses me and my presence on stage, their life changes.
Yeah.
And the how do I say it? And like, look, currently right now, most of my stages, I'm with it's white women that are running the show, you
Yeah.
know, and like, it's fun, man. It's fun. Like, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm spreading the energy. Like, it's it's one of those things where I just think it adds. So let's talk about polarity for a second, right? I think it just like I would consider myself judgment free, open, um, quite socially adept. So I believe it's probably really refreshing,
Yeah.
for the women in the room to be like, oh wait, there's this young guy over here, Washington. He's great chat, he's funny, and he surprisingly knows what he's talking about. you know, and um, yeah, that's really that lives that polarity, right? So there's this masculine polarity. I would consider myself very I wouldn't say masculine, but I would consider myself so safe and comfortable with myself that other people around me feel that way.
Yeah.
And if I'm walking into a space full of strong, powerful women, and there's a man that doesn't um, diminish their power, but also does not diminish himself,
Yeah.
that is a
That's huge.
saucy environment to be in.
Oh yeah.
You, you know? And I think that's actually a bigger element of it because let's go back to it. The people that want to try and play the power plays with me, it doesn't. It, I don't think it would be possible for them to actually pay off because the room becomes one big family, whatever room I'm in.
Yeah.
So it doesn't become it bigs them up, and
Yeah.
if they're going to get exposed later on, they'll get exposed. If not, it's going to bring more people like me into their room to grow and to become successful. So for me, it's one of those things where um you being a black man, I have to be the best. I have to I have to work hard. I have to be competent. I have to be um all of these things the world tells me I have to be to get through.
Mhm.
And my blackness is also privileged. My accent is actually also privileged. But what I mean by that is that people are actively looking for people like me to fill in those spaces as well.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a win-win.
Mhm. Opportunity there. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly, So yeah, that's just the honest truth about how I feel about that.
Is it quite a heavy responsibility to cover? Because you're right. Like, you're they're looking for people. Whenever we look at these panels, people are often saying things that, I want to make sure we've got the right representation. We have, you know, people of color, people of all genders on the stage.
Hmm.
And so we are looking for people to invite. And obviously, there's that responsibility of you to then show up and be a not just a token, but actually genuinely be there because you're bloody good at what you do and you are phenomenal on stage.
Yeah.
Is there, you mentioned about you have to be your best, you have to show up, you have to do the best job because you are one of the few. Is that
Hmm.
quite heavy to carry?
Is it quite heavy to carry? At the beginning, yes.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it was heavy at the beginning is because I didn't know who was my friends, who are actually my friends in my back pocket, and
Yeah.
who aren't. So I felt like I was being used in some
Yeah.
aspects, um, which is like, yeah, I did. However, I got over myself
Hmm.
and remembered what I was doing, and how did I feel like I was being used? An element of me didn't feel like I deserved to be there, even though I've been working the past like 8 years, like
Yeah.
working my ass off to get here. So there was an element of that. There was an element of um, looking for the deception, looking for um, oh, they don't really want me here, you know? And so that felt a lot. That felt a lot. If I'm going to be honest, I wasn't really thinking about representing myself as a leader to the world. I
Yeah.
was really mainly focused on like, okay, I need to get my, I need to, I need to, I need to make myself,
Yeah.
that type of rhetoric. But only over the past maybe, um, I don't know, since I started the tour, did I realize that actually, do you know what? Like I'm here so that I can bridge people together
Yeah.
because I think people are ignorant. I don't think they're downright horrible people.
Yeah.
And so many people have been burnt by horrible people or downright ignorance. The space to communicate, the space to connect is so fickle.
Yeah.
And I've been in rooms where fuck being in rooms. I've created rooms where, for example, someone supports Trump, another person supports Kamala, and they're able to have a connect conversation.
Yeah.
Someone it likes I don't know reform, and then another person likes Labour, and like they're able to have a conversation because at the end of the day, we was touched on it earlier. One aspect of us isn't the full aspect of us. That isn't, and the things that we struggle with on a day-to-day basis are the same things everyone struggles with. Everyone struggles with relationships, money, leadership, integrity, happiness, fulfillment. We struggle with the same shit. So
Yeah.
if people are able to connect at that level first, because most time, if you're meeting a stranger, that's the only place you really meet with
Yeah.
each other first, at humanity. And once you meet someone at their humanity, it's easier to navigate through all the other bullshit. And we're living in a world right now where we're being told that no one has any humanity, where wherever I go in the world, I meet incredible, amazing people. And yeah, so it's the response. I do feel the burden and responsibility, but the burden and responsibility is an honor, and I'm grateful to have
Yeah.
amazing people around me who support me as a human being, who validate me as Washington, who encourage me, power me forward as Washington, not as a black man, but as
Yeah.
Washington. And I happen to be a black man, so I represent. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely. Do you find now that you talked about walking into rooms and not knowing who there was your friend, and it's interesting because I've got episodes coming up with guests where we're going to talk about like love bombers and the people that just want to be in our world for what we can connect them to and like what we can do for them. How do you find dealing? Because I think that probably happens to you quite a lot because you go to so many events, you are so well connected. Do you find is that something that is attracted to you? Can you recognize them when that's happening?
Yeah, look, it's for me, it's how long is someone willing to maintain a relationship. Don't get me wrong, if someone's got a proposition for me and they share it with
Yeah.
me, I love that too.
Yeah.
But it's more that, do you know what? It's more that, do I actually like you like that?
Yeah.
For real. And that becomes my barrier to be, because I like, on a level, I don't want anything from anyone. I just want really great people around that
Yeah.
I don't have to do business with. But if we if it ends up, it ends up, and I'm like, oh, that's the person I'm thinking about. Um, how do I feel about it? I think it's just common practice. Like,
Yeah.
people, we're in business. Like, people, there are opportunists. Some people are really great at being an opportunist.
Yeah.
Some might even dare call me one. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's we're in. That's what business is about. You're searching for an opportunity. If you come to me and we don't gel like that, then
Yeah.
we just don't gel. I think what really pisses me off, Alex, what really pisses me off is people who virtue signal but don't stand on business. You know, like, if you are to say, what's a really good example? I can't think of an example because it just came into my mind right now. So I've got a friend called Regina. Like, Regina is pro black, pro human,
Yeah.
pro connection, and like, she will tell someone who it is, whether it's on a Facebook post, whether it's real life. She will also bring people together, whether it's on a Facebook post or whether it's real life. But she
Yeah.
will draw that line.
Yeah.
She will draw that line. Des is another human being, whether it's social media, whether it's real life. There is a line that is
Yeah.
not to be crossed or drawn, you know? And I'm like, oh, that for me, those are the only type of people I want to be surrounded by.
Yeah.
Anyone else, I'm a bit more like, obviously there's different archetypes. Like, there's people who are built in kindness. Like, Alex, you are kind, you are principled. I put you in the same category as Regina and Des, right? Um, and then there are people who are just, I'm gonna say, like, I was taught that you have a three-tier group of people around you. You have people that are a few levels above you, who are your mentors, people you aspire to be, even friends, right? And then you have your peer group, people who are on a similar, um, for lack of a better word, again, level. And then you've got
Yeah.
people who are just like a few levels or whatever underneath you. And it's like, my world is encompassed by those people. So I'm not
Yeah.
saying that, oh, you have to be a superstar for me to want to connect with you. It's what I'm saying is that you just have to have a certain level of character, or I have to perceive you to have a certain level of character before I even consider um, sharing a part of my soul with you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's about the people that pull you up, the people that you pull up, and the people that are striving for the same thing as you. Like
Hmm.
having people around you that are all trying to achieve something and trying to do something and have something about them. Like, that's who you want to be surrounded by. People that are taking movement. You don't want to be in a pond of people that are stuck because
Yes.
you get sucked in by them.
And that's how I ended up becoming
Yeah.
paranoid from smoking too much weed, because I was a part of incredibly talented people, by the way,
Yeah.
way better than me at their art form, a millionfold. But did they have the desire to create, or did they have the desire to relish in what they have already achieved, right? And
Yeah.
at 18, you haven't fucking done anything, pardon my
Yeah.
you know and those are the telltale signs I look out for. I look out for bitterness, I look
Hmm.
out for cattiness, um I look out for, I was gonna say being undignified, but like, look, I have some really racy jokes, you know but yeah, just any my main pet peeve, or anything that really would deter me from someone, is someone who's bitter or someone who's envious about other people or something else.
Yeah.
Those are my two things. I'm like, oh, yeah, we can't be friends.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And people that decide what story they're telling about you in their head. So for me, the amount of people who have decided what I'm going to be for them
Mm,
and they can't waver for that. Even when I'm like, that's not who I am, like that's not who I'm trying to be, that's not what I'm trying to deliver here. They're like,
mm.
no, that's the person that I've decided you are, and that's it. And I'm like, okay, cool. We'll just go our separate ways then, because that's
Yeah,
that's not what I'm about.
that's exactly it. And the thing is, when you have such a fixed mindset,
Yeah,
you don't grow. You like for me, the world is a bunch of possibilities that we have to grab onto. Like there's so many balloons of ideas out there in the world. Am I going to
yeah,
grab an idea, hold on, and let it take me to the moon? Or am I going to take like 100, maybe let go of a few and keep on grabbing and keep on
yeah,
grabbing? Then I
yeah,
look like the old man from Up, right? And and I think that without having an expanded, a curious, and not an adventurous. And when I say adventurous, I don't mean traveling everywhere. Adventurous in the food, the flavors you consume in this life, because there's just so many. And if you don't want those flavors, like I just don't know. I just
yeah,
we can't be friends. Like, look, I'll eat African food, Somalian food, Caribbean food. Do you know what I mean? French cuisine. I want it all. You know,
yeah.
and you're just telling me you just want um, respectfully, you just want to roast every day for the rest of your life. Sorry, we can't be friends. We can't be friends. Even it's a great meal, but we can't be friends.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because I think that's where the diversity inclusion stuff can actually be so cool. Like I remember like I grew up in a really tiny town. Like we had one Indian family, they ran the Indian takeaway. We had one Chinese family, they ran the like takeaway. I didn't
Mhm.
see a black person until I was 13, like in the flesh. There was no one in my town that was a person of color other than those two families who were kind of in our heads just tied to the takeaway. Like that was all that they were. They weren't really humans, they were just takeaways.
Mhm.
And so then moving to big cities when I went to university, it was like, oh shit, okay. And especially when I moved to London, like I lived in South London for 10 years, wild levels of just like, okay, like this is pure immersion. Now, like you are living, I lived in Peckham for so long, that's a really Jamaican neighborhood. And like the accents, the food, oh my God, the food, the barbecues that they would have on the street. And if you walked past and you looked like you were enjoying the smell, they were like, come on over, like have some. Just
And
like
you
come
got
on in, like let me give you food. And you're like, oh. And it was incredible. And I
mm,
think that's where for me diversity and inclusion is like such a good thing. Because if I had stayed in my tiny little town, like granted there's a lot more diversity in that town now than there was when I was growing up in the 90s, but I would have so little experience of other cultures. And other cultures are like, they add so much color and flavor to the human experience. Like,
that's it.
that it's such an incredible thing to go and experience someone else's like way of doing, like having a party and way to eat food and all of the different aspects of it. And I think when it's done really well, and I have seen it done well in events where it's
Hmm.
not a commoditized kind of, oh, that's our token, that person, and that's our token, that person. It's
Hmm.
very much just like, no, like these are the people we want to be surrounded by, and this is a representation of who we want to be in the room as well. Like this is
Mm.
just a condensed version of that. I think it's those are rooms that are really exciting to be in.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's people who, I think you actually got it down perfectly. People who are willing to experience other people's worlds and then also willing to share those other people's worlds with other people,
Yeah,
with the rest of the world. And that's where you feel the love, that's where you feel the community.
yeah.
Um, and that's where people really truly get educated.
Yeah, 100%. I think something I said in my talk on Friday is that we have to get better at being uncomfortable. Like our comfort zone can't expand if we're never going to be uncomfortable. If we're just going to stay in the comfort zone, then we're never going to grow. And this is where, for me, you have to be like learning new cultures or being surrounded by a culture that is not your own can be quite
Mm,
uncomfortable because, especially as a white middle class woman, the risk of me offending someone without thinking by just saying something,
Yeah,
it's high. I could go into a place and I could just happen to say a throwaway comment, not thinking about it, and I could offend someone. So, being uncomfortable in those situations where you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Like, how do I eat this? Am I, which hand am I supposed to eat with? What am I supposed to do here? Am I supposed to say something, or is there a particular way? I think if you can be comfortable being uncomfortable and you can just make it known that you're willing to learn, like as soon as you go into those environments and you go, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, can someone make sure I don't fuck this up and just tell me what to do? Everyone is so willing to be helpful. Everyone is so willing to be like, oh yeah, do this, like next do that. Go and say this to
yeah.
that person. And you're like, okay, cool, thanks. But it's when
So
people just want to be seen, oh no, no, like I'm so good at what I'm doing, oh, like I don't need to be told anything. That's when you risk pissing people off.
no, but those are the worst type of people. Those are the worst type of environments to lock yourself in when
Yeah.
you see everyone else being the issue apart from yourself, you
Yes.
know? And I think it's it's hilarious. It's actually really sad to witness that because even those people have so many people reaching out and asking them for help. It kind of reminds me of me when I was out on the streets. Before I dropped out of college, I had five teachers say, "Wash, don't do this. It'll be the worst mistake of your whole entire life." Mum, worst mistake of your entire life. My uncle, bro, what are you doing? Worst mistake of your entire life. But in my mind, I was like, I'm right. Everything I'm doing, I'm right. I'm right. I'm right. Like, uh, and then only for it to come back. And to be fair, be one the most transformational, best learning experience of my life.
Yeah.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
You know, at what cost? And I don't think it's that openness, that level of connection, and I genuinely think being open and receptive is so undervalued.
Yeah.
And to touch on what you're saying about, I'm going to call it soft culture, right? But it's not really soft. We live in a confusing world. Like you said, you don't want to offend,
Yeah.
uh, but in the not wanting to offend, people back off. But
Yeah.
it's within the backing off that you cause more tension and confusion. And where
Mm-hmm.
there's confusion, there's misunderstanding. When there's
Yeah.
openness and communication, there is connection. And as soon as there's connection, even the minorest of understandings or the minorest of confusions, people are like more open to forgive, more open to work around. And it's like this isolation culture that we've all got ourselves in our own vacuums of whether it's like um, um, black only places. When I mean that, I mean like black as a monolith. There's only one way to be black, or there's
Yeah.
only one way to be LGBTQ, or is there's only one way to be a middle-aged white woman that
Yeah.
like watches Martha Stewart and da da da. Do you know what I mean? Like there's only
Mm-hmm.
one way to do all these things, and I think that's where the direction of the world that we're heading into really terrifies me because it requires a lot of people to be a part of many micro communities that are hyper super focused on what people enjoy. And those micro communities, for me, it's like you don't need to leave. You don't need to leave. And the fact that you don't need to leave is really fun. It's really amazing, especially if you have like a cult-like personality and you like that type of thing. Um, yeah, again, it limits the experience. It's suffocating, no?
Talk to me about the confidence tour. What's it
The
about?
confidence. Yeah, so the confidence tour is now a 2 day live
Ooh.
experience where we first. So let me tell you what confidence is first, actually, before I get ahead of myself. Confidence to me is identity creation plus self-trust in action. And what that means is everything that we've been discussing about today is identity creation is who I am plus how I am me equals what I do.
Mm.
What that means is who I am is my role, my career, my my any role that I play in society in the world, and how I am that role is the most important thing in the world. So the role is the hat you wear. The how I am me is how you produce work in that role, and that
Hmm.
equals what you do. Whereas most of the world are stuck in what I do plus how well I do it equals who I am, right? And it's in that how well I do, people get consumed. They attach their identity to success, they attach their identity to pride, money, to women, to material aspects of this world. And because of that, when things aren't going well, how they view themselves, how they see themselves, they suffer,
Yeah.
plain and simply, you know? So it's allowing people to be able to wear multiple hats and show them how to navigate through those hats or choose them, you
Hmm.
know? So that's the identity creation aspect of things. And then secondly, we move into action, self-trust in action.
Yeah.
So day one, we're in a hotel room, we're workshopping on on people's lives. What is your relationship to your confidence? What is your relationship to trust? When who was the first person that broke your trust? You know, was it your parents? Was it a relationship? Was it an experience? And then day two, it's live and experiential in person outside of the hotel this time. And we're
Hmm.
working on how can you build trust authentically? How can you
Amazing.
refeel what it feels like to be unsure and take action anyway without necessarily putting yourself in any real danger? However, still experiencing and getting in touch with what really is and what it feels like to be in tune with yourself. So that's what the confidence tool is. It's helping people move away from the lies that they've been telling themselves, which are, let's call them their vans, right? The lies
Yeah.
that I'm not good enough. I'll never be successful. I'm a failure. Um, Rather than the ifs, the possibilities in my world, my air forces, which are um, career success, my potential as a human being, the
Hmm.
impact I can make in the world, the impact I can make directly with my family, um, and so on and so forth. So moving people out of their lives into their possibilities, into their futures. Because why that's so important is most people's lives are caught up in their futures. And what I mean by that is if you think about terrible things that have happened in the past, a lot of people live their lives to avoid those things happening again in the future.
Hmm.
Now, if you're living your life to avoid something happening again in the future, the past you were just living, the future you're living into is just your past because all you can imagine is the things that have already happened.
Yeah.
So, my role, my responsibility is to help people clear that lie. Not to say
Love
that it
that.
didn't happen,
Yeah. Yeah.
but to say that I'm okay that it happened.
Yeah.
I'm at peace with that happen. And then to fill in that future, that possibility, so that your future starts to pull you, starts to drag you effortlessly without being strung down like your bag lady. Do you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
bags, so many coats on you and weighing you down. So that's what the confidence tour is all about.
Incredible.
People truly feeling self-trust in action.
I love it. And I mean, that is just, that's me all over. Like, I love, because I think you're right. Like, when you're trying to avoid what happened in the past, a lot of the time what you're doing is not taking action because you're trying to, like, get to not there again. And that just keeps you stuck. It keeps you stagnant and it keeps you kind of not moving forward. And actually, you have to take action to move forward. Like, it's literally it's a doing
It,
word. You have to.
yeah, do you know what I mean? It's a prerequisite. Without action, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so who's it for? Who do you
Who's it
love to
for?
work with? Because I think a lot of people that I have seen that come to your tours on the face of things, the people around them, like maybe their peers, would probably think like, oh, they've got confidence, like they're doing the thing.
Yeah, that's so true. Like that is exactly it. So my tour is for those people who'd consider themselves self-expressed, but they are going through what we spoke about. They're going through a catalytic experience. They're evolving and they just can't shake off the skin that they have already shed off. You know,
Yeah,
it's like imagine this. I can't think of anything else. Imagine a snake shedding, right?
yeah,
So when a snake's shedding, sometimes it will wriggle around, and you can see kind of that separation from the new skin and the old membrane.
yeah,
Most of the people that come into my rooms, they've still got the old membrane sorry, and they don't know how to rip it off. They don't know how to just come alive and just say who the fuck they are and really
yeah.
live in it, not half-ass live in it 2 minutes and then come back and then did it, did it. So yeah,
That's
and
such
they
an
tend to
incredible
be.
message.
Thank you. Thank you for inspiring that in me, by the way, because
Yeah.
yeah, that's who it's for.
Amazing. Okay. And you've got a masterclass coming up, I believe.
Yes, I do. I have a masterclass coming up on the 22nd of March. It'll be
Amazing.
4:30 p.m. That's a Sunday, by the way. So don't worry, you can still have your dinner plans. You can still tuck the children away, put them in front of a TV. Um, you can be, well, you can't really be in bed. You need your notebook, your pen, and locked in. But you can. It's an easy day. It's a Sunday. And in 90 minutes, I take people through how they can move from hesitation to confidence, which of course is self-trust in action.
Amazing. Amazing. And I've seen you in action. You're incredible. The way that you pick up on the nuances of what people are saying and listen to what they're saying rather than necessarily the words that they're choosing is just, yeah, it's incredible to watch.
Thank you so much. You're a
Amazing.
master
Is
at
there
your craft yourself.
anything else that you
Then,
would love to say to us?
um, is it last message? I would probably say that thank you for having me here. Follow me on Instagram at becomealive.washington. And as a message, I think the most important thing I'd like everyone to ponder over is the things that have made my life increasingly enjoyable is the people that I've had around me, is my ability to be alone, and has been my love for connecting with random people out in the world. Not to become friends, but just to hear their stories.
Yeah.
Um, so let's call it collecting perspectives, you know? And if you have a mindset or an attitude of collecting perspectives, understanding people will be easier, feeling good about yourself and the world will be easier. Yeah, so that's all. That's all I
I
like to
love
say.
that. That's such a beautiful way of kind of talking about experiences and going out there and experimenting. Like collecting perspectives is such a beautiful way of saying that. I love that.
Thank you.
Amazing. I will obviously link all of your socials and stuff along with the episode so that everyone can connect with you and find you and go to this masterclass. But thank you so much. I feel like I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours, but I have promised everyone that I would keep these episodes under an hour. So we'll finish up there. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That should have. This podcast is a window into the conversations I have every week with the leaders I work with. If you want to be inside that conversation, not just observing it, you will find the Actual Results Club and my one-to-one work linked below.